So a few months ago, I started a brand new account with one goal in mind: to reach the new region, Natlan, as soon as I can. But I do not want to skip any region. I already shared my journey from Mondstadt to Sumeru, and have been enjoying my experience so far. I successfully won my 50-50s pulling for Raiden and Nahida, thank God. All while doing this challenge completely free to play. That means no swiping, which was never really a problem I had. I built a solid travel team and everything was going smoothly. Or so I thought. I made a mistake that changed this account forever. So after my stint in Sumeru, it was time to finally move on to my favorite region, Fontaine. Back when it was first released, it was honestly a sight for sore eyes. After an exhausting experience with the desert, I was hoping the next region could do me some justice. Haha, sign a joke. Anyway, I skipped the desert this time and headed straight for Baguette City. Now that I'm in Fontaine, I'm reminded of why I love this region so much. I'm a sucker for European art movements, from the architecture to the overall atmosphere, but especially their influence in fashion, which is why I love the designs of the Fontaine characters, with Navia being my favorite. I could honestly go on why I love her character and design, but let's keep it moving. There's also a steampunk theme going on in the region and it works. I felt that they incorporated it in a way that still fits the magical fantasy element of Genshin, unlike some things. Anyway, I did not stay too long in Fontaine as the next update for Natlan was just around the corner. Looking back on it, I wished I stayed a bit longer. I'll talk more about this in a later section of the video, but overall, I enjoyed Fontaine's main story. The impact of the prophecy and the tension building up to the climax was great. The Fortress of Meripede was a bit long, but thank God I did not get caught and stuck with Caterpie again. That made my original experience even longer. The character arcs were great, with Furina's being one of the best I've seen in Genshin. So after what I thought was the best region in the game, I thought Natlan could keep the trend going. After all, Neverlet did tease us that it was the nation of war and dragons. Genshin does have some pretty dark elements, so I was expecting the region to have more grit. Which it did, but not exactly. It did have a strong start with the tournament arc, and kind of carried that towards the middle of the main story. Albeit some things could have been better. We had the Abyss invasion and I actually enjoyed the interactiveness of the map. The choices that were made were reflected on the map with a death counter. We saw damages and dead bodies laying on the ground. It gave me the impression that, oh shit, this is war. And then they pull out the Power of Friendship card and I'm like, okay. I will say though, the reveal of the fake sky gave me goosebumps. That shit was pretty cool. I'm glad we finally got confirmation on this, as I'm very interested in the lore to that. But afterwards, the remainder of the story just didn't do it for me. I could talk more about this and Fontaine, but this is not what you're here for. So if you want to know more about my thoughts, feel free to comment down below or start a discussion over on my Discord server. Might as well remind you that you probably aren't subscribed. Liking this video and subscribing is the best way to support small creators like me, and I would greatly appreciate it. I also stream most nights on Twitch, so drop a follow over there and watch me play Genshin and these other gacha games. Links are in the description below. Just before the final act, I went and did what I was most excited for in the patch: pulling for the characters. While I was somewhat excited for Mawika, Shenhe and Cloran were the ones I was really eyeing for. Ha! Spoiler alert, I didn't get them. As you can see, I had a lot of Primo Gems saved up, with 45 pity. So where did it all go? I won both of my 50-50s pulling for Mawika and Citlali, with 50 wishes to spare. I wonder where all that went. And that's not the end of it. I was now broke, but guaranteed. So I decided to start clearing out the map. Exploration wasn't so bad, since I got the pay to explore character. I did temple after temple while min-picking Natlan of its primogems. After a couple of weeks, I managed to 100% most of it. Natlan was by far my favorite sub-region, as it gave me the magical fantasy element that I thought was missing in Natlan. It was also what I imagined the region to be like. Anyway, I finally got my hands on Mawika's weapon. I should be happy and relieved, right? Well, I was. She's my best DPS by far. She looks great and made exploration a bit easier. But after playing with her for a couple of months, I realized that I don't like her playstyle. Her motorbike has no weight or resistance to it. The axis being in the middle and not the front feels so weird. Like I said, I think she looks great individually. She just looks so out of place in the context and setting of the VAT. So at the end of the day, she just isn't my cup of tea. And I cannot justify how greedy and stupid getting her weapon was. So not only did I spend 100 wishes to get her weapon, I did not have any left to get the characters I was actually more excited for. That's why I consider Mawika to be my biggest regret. And the reason why I think this changes my account forever is because we'll probably never see Shunha again. But there's a silver lining to this. While I would be able to guarantee Shunha if I had saved, it would be no different than the weapon banner. But they're all characters, you might say. To that, I say, Chi-Chi. I did have enough to try and gamble for Shunha, but ultimately, it just wasn't worth the risk. Can you imagine if I got Chi-Chi though? Now I did try to get Clorinde, hoping I would get her early. And as you all know, I didn't. But as a consolation prize, I got C2 Lanyan. I can slap on the VV set and Thrilling Tales on her, slap her into my Keqing team, and since she's C2, I can slap on the event weapon on my Keqing. This will allow decent to permanent uptime on the passive. All I can say is, I think I'm cooking here, chat. Lantern Rite was one of my favorite events in Genshin. I really enjoyed last year's with the addition of Chen Yu Vale, but this year's Lantern Rite was okay. While I liked that we got Hu Tao lore, it sucked that most of the characters weren't voiced, but that's not the VA's fault. The events were enjoyable, but nothing really special. During this time, I was exploring and doing the Chasm World Quest. I managed to 100% the underground level, but the surface still needs some work. Fast forward to now, I managed to get Farina. I was really happy about that after what had happened with Mawika and her weapon. I'm at 50 pity and am currently going for Wrightsley. Wish me luck. So, we finally completed our goal of reaching Natlan. What did I learn and what's in store for the future of this series? Well, for starters, Fontaine still holds the crown for the best region, at least to me. And knowing that, I don't think it was worth the rush to Natlan. I should take my time in exploring and immersing myself in the region before moving on to the next. 2. Feel out a new character's playstyle a lot longer first before making the decision to pull them. Do the trial as many times as I need to if I'm still not sure after the first run. And 3. As a free-to-play, the weapon banner is not worth the risk. Unless it's Mistsplitter. Safe to say, I will not be repeating this mistake on my free-to-play account in Honkai Star Rail. Now, what's in store for the future of this series? Honestly, at first, it was a bit up in the air. From what I've learned, I wished I had taken a different approach to the series by taking my time in exploring the different regions first before moving on to the next. This made me feel a bit unsatisfied, especially because of how disappointing Natlan was to me. Not just the story, but the entire region as a whole, including the characters. Kinich, Shalonen, and Capitano being the only exceptions to this. I need my guy to be playable, man. Maybe it's just nostalgia speaking, but a lot of the recent characters lack the charm that I felt the older characters have. And with Veressa coming up, while I think she's cute, her design also feels out of place to me. She, Mawika, and the technology used make Natlan's design language feel inconsistent to me. Now, I could just ignore pulling for the Natlan characters, but it makes me wonder how Hoyo will approach future regions. The events, especially as of late, don't feel as engaging or innovative. It feels like repeats of previous events with a little twist and that's it. I was already losing my passion for the game, which is why I made a free-to-play account, not only to have a fresh start and stop spending money on the game, but to experience the game in a different way, hoping it would reignite that same passion I felt before. Streaming honestly helped me improve my experience with this game a lot. I get to have conversations with some of y'all and share my thoughts about different topics live. So I was honestly debating on taking a break from Genshin and eventually make a new account, but this time stream almost everything to you guys on Twitch, while also taking my time and approaching the game differently. But after a while, I decided to just stick with this account. After all, we did get Farina and still have a lot of areas to explore. Maybe in the future we could entertain that idea, but for now, the series will continue. However, I want to branch out to other gacha games as well. Zenless Zone Zero and Wuthering Waves have been amazing, and I want to start making content on those as well. You can expect the same amount of quality as you see here in those videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I was honestly blown away at how much support the first one got, and I truly appreciate it. More videos are coming soon, but I will take my time in making them to provide the best quality I can for y'all. As always, I would appreciate it if you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Alright, I'll see y'all in the next one.